name's Eric. I've got a nice blue shirt with a collar. Are you amazed by my nice blue shirt? It's just my day job shirt, and I don't feel like changing today at the end of the day. More importantly, I'm making animated faces you can talk to, and I'm creating like these interactive experiences. Let me demo. I got stuff to demo. I got lots to demo. Let's show. Okay, Wisp. There are 4 screens currently planned for it. One of them is done. This is the face authoring screen. And I spent some months on this, basically adding in all the little parts to everything. This is a fully editable face. The parts that you see, they're replaceable. You could go to the nose and you can say, I want a different nose. You pick a different nose. And anyways, you can resize things to make different appearing faces. You can play them back with test voices.
I don't invent anymore. I must create.
Right? Okay. And then, there's all these different...
I can't wait to see my tools again.
All right. So you can author this face. Okay, then the more recent set of functionality that I added was just all these buttons along the top. So you can have more than one face. And you can open that up and come back to it. So here's another guy, Larrabee. Or Swipes, yeah. Doesn't matter, it's just a placeholder name anyways. I could rename it to something else. Bali. Okay. And all these changes are made not on a server someplace, they're made locally. They're made on my computer, or if you're running this app, that they're made on your computer, and they're kept in the web browser's persistent storage. So if you leave and come back, it's all there. When I do let's see, undos and redos, it also updates persistent storage. So it's saving all the time. Whenever you make a change, it's going to save it. There isn't a save button up here because it's just automatically saving all the time. You can delete, you can import from your local file system a face file. Do I have one here? I don't know. Anyways, all it does is it imports that as a file. You can also export. You can take whatever face you're working on and you can you can export it to a file in your file system. That can be used to share that face with somebody else. Maybe they're running Wisp on their computer and you want them to have the face that you created. You can send them that face. Okay? So all this stuff works. Everything on this screen works. That's basically a completed screen. I'm done with it. It's time to move on to the Spiel screen, which currently is nothing at all. It does nothing. When I click on this little tab, it just makes a little animation and goes nowhere. But I did get around to wireframing. I said, okay, let's make a screen where you can edit Spiel. What is a Spiel? It's a set of dialogue that generally flows in a linear fashion, but there are opportunities for interactive responses of a character to certain prompts. So I thought about it a little bit, and I decided that I would make this just a glorified text editor to begin with. Now, I have earlier in the last year created like an authoring tool, which is probably going in the right direction. Instead of having just text that you edit, it's got kind of a nice UI where you can edit individual lines, and you can add replies, and you can delete individual lines. And if I kept going with this, I would add dragging so I could change the ordering of the lines. You can create general replies, which are like if you want to say, shut up, the character will reply back, no, you shut up. Not shut up, shut up. Okay. And then what this means is that during the conversation, suppose this character Jerry is in the middle of his spiel. He's just going through the script one line at a time, and I, the player, say, "Shut up." He'll interrupt. He'll take that interruption and he'll reply briefly, "No, you shut up," and then he'll continue with the rest of his spiel. So this is an early version of what I thought the UI might be like, but I got to thinking, I haven't really play tested this whole experience long enough to know everything that I may want to put inside of this spiel format. So I may end up doing things like adding special case handlers for, like, if the player doesn't say anything for 10 seconds, then the character will prompt with something, things like that. But since I haven't tested it out well enough, I don't quite know if this format that I already have created code for is going to be like properly expressive of the experience. So I'm leaving that open. The best way to do that is just make this just a simple text editor, and I'll have a parser I already have the parser written that loads in that format and uses that to drive in a test experience. Now over here, speaking of the test experience, there is a face, and you can click start. This is just a wireframe, so none of this works yet, but you'll be able to click start, and then it'll go through the spiel, and it'll just start saying lines, and you'll be able to interact with it using speech recognition, and a transcript will show underneath. It will show the words that you said and if they were matched or not. So I've got like this in parentheses, unmatched, so that when I'm testing this out, I keep on switching between I and you. Maybe I'll be more consistent. So when you're testing this out, you'll be able to see how the conversation went and what things you said, and maybe like some of the things that you as the player said, you would hope that the character would respond to them, so you could come back and look at your transcript and figure out how to write like some matching rules that would allow the character to respond to that particular thought that you gave. Okay. I also went back and looked at another older project called Chirp that I released earlier last year. Just to kind of think about, ultimately, would I like the spiel to be expressed in something that looks like a screenplay dialogue, or a screenplay script? The answer is maybe. And I have written code to do it before, and it's really nice in some ways. Like, if people are familiar with reading from scripts like this, then it makes a lot of sense. I do see a possibility of one of the main users of Wisp being voice actors, like combination voice actor writers who will record their own lines, but they'll also write their own lines as well, and kind of evolve that experience themselves, instead of having the more traditional relationship of having like whoever's running a production hand them the lines and then they read the lines. I'm quite interested in kind of closing the loop between the person writing the content and the person performing the content. So with that type of user in mind, it may very well make sense to use this kind of screenplay format, but add like some extra UI around the interactive elements of it. I'll have to keep thinking about that, but it's a little too early to come to that decision. I also spent a little bit of time researching the possibility of adding in some kind of expression parser inside of this as well. I won't get into that. Anyways, what I want to do today is make like a dummy version of this screen, and it probably will have almost no functionality to it, but it'll just have like the basic parts of the screen showing. And I want to cough a lot while I'm working on it, just to make everyone feel uncomfortable. I am getting over some COVID from about a week and a half ago. Making pretty great progress on that. It's nice to have normal amounts of energy every day to think and work on things. All right, so let's get to making this screen. Brand new screen. Kind of excited. Get to work on something totally different. See, so I've got this faces screen. It's also kind of like I have a sigh of relief about completing the faces screen, because if I were to add a lot more complexity to it, there'd be things I would need to refactor and reorganize, but it feels like about at the right level of manageable complexity in the code. I've got things separated out into subdirectories, and I'm like, phew, this screen is not getting too complicated. What I put inside of it and how I organized it is about right for it to be good maintainable code. So continuing on, I get to create a new directory for a new screen. It's going to be Spiel's screen with 2 E's, not 3. Because if you're using 3 E's in a screen, that's too large of a screen. Okay. So following my pattern, I'm going to just right away create an interactions directory. And I don't know if I'll put a lot beyond that. Okay, so Spiel's screen. So I did a pretty good job of refactoring bits of the faces screen as I went, and it still ended up 273 lines of code. And I don't feel like there's anything in here that really ought to be refactored into separate files. Like, someone could argue, take this whole dialogue section and put it off in a different file or function, and I don't feel that would reduce complexity in any way. I think it would add complexity. It's pretty understandable as it is now. So I'm going to follow that same pattern. Okay. Let's take this and split it, and I'll use this as a reference. Spiel screen. Oh, whoops. Split and move right. Okay, we'll go split screen on this. Over here, I want faces screen. Where are you? Oh, there you are. Okay. Function. Spiel screen. This is a React component. Yeah, I can see a lot of stuff that I'll use again. Document name. Although that's the wrong revision. So let's just comment it out from now. Comment that out. That's the wrong get revision from out. Okay, put this in the order I want. Init results. Yeah, I'll wait on adding these in because each one that I paste is going to import from something in faces screen, and I'd rather not do that. Although, I'll tell you what. Comment, there we go. That's pretty good like that. This one I can use right away. These, they're not going to be applicable. Disabled, yeah, that's a good one to reuse again. Okay, navigate. Yep. Use effect after mount. So this is my own higher order function, which wraps use effect and makes it so that use effect will just get called one time after mount, or this function defined by a declaration will get called. Okay. It's going to be init, set revision. Then next init results. Here. Yeah, this should be about the same. And someone might say, well, if it's just the same code, why don't you be dry about it? Why don't you just put a shared function used by both? I mean, it's not quite the same, and it's likely to change in ways specific to this particular screen. So I'm not only those hyperdrive coders, I would rather wait until there's an advantage that I can see in refactoring common code before just doing it kind of as a knee-jerk thing. Maybe return D in it, but I don't know if I've got anything D in it, so I'll leave that out. Okay, so then that's my use effect after mount. Cool. And looking at this other stuff that is potentially reusable. I'm not going to paste it. That'll bring in too many auto imports and I'll have to clean them up. So let's just put it in one at a time. Action bar buttons equals, and then I think I did pretty much the exact same buttons in my wireframe. I'll take a look at it real quick. New, open, rename, delete, import, export, undo, redo. Yeah, so it's going to be the same ones. I just don't want them to bring in a lot of imports automatically, so I'm going to put this in comments to start, and I'll paste. In this session, we should be able to get a screen up and displaying too. So, okay, so this first one on new face, that's not defined yet. Let's just make all of these be do nothing. And I'll just define like an empty function up above in a moment. But let's fix these guys, get rid of them. Boom. Okay, and same for undo and redo. I just want to get the screen up and visible and showing all the parts today. I'm not going to worry about any kind of functionality. Okay, let's go define do nothing. Function do nothing. That'll do it. To do delete after now used. Okay, there's my action bar buttons. Selection pane, I don't need a selection pane at this point. Face content. I will need that, but I'm gonna wait on that just until I get some other stuff up first. It's good to not boil the ocean while you're just trying to get something going. It's good to kind of break it up into chunks. So let's bring over the part that actually gets rendered. Okay, screen container, this shared component. Document name equals document name. And I think I might be at the end of the usefulness of the split screen. Let's just scan down. Yeah, okay, let's get rid of the split screen so we can see things see things better. Close all tabs and group. Okay. So then we go with the document name and the action bar buttons and the is control pane open. Active screen equals screen. Spiels. There it is. Okay, and you are complaining about nothing closing there. Okay, that might be pretty close to enough to display some kind of empty screen. Okay. So if I go to my routing, I think I can now add in a new screen here. Spiels screen. Oh, I didn't do my export yet. Okay. Export default. Okay, back to the routes. Okay, that's good now. Yeah, so this is just telling the app, if we go to different URLs, what are we going to display? What React component are we going to render if we go to certain URLs? It's complaining about something. What would it be complaining about? Let's see. Its return type of void is not a valid JSX element. Okay. So that's because I forgot to put return here. Okay. Come back to app routes. That's fixed up. So now let's see what actually renders. Come back to Wisp. Okay, so here's I am on my faces screen. Can I just go to the Spiel screen? Can I go there? Not yet. Is that a thing where maybe I need to do a reload on the page? No, there's something else up. Now, if I say Wisp tool Spiels does the routing work. No, it sends me back. If I do, hold on, let's see what the pattern is when I go to faces. Faces is like that. Okay. So what about Spiels? Does not work. Okay, I must have messed up something. Let me try this. Maybe it's something to do with the component itself. So if I say that Spiels goes to faces screen, am I able to route to the faces screen by using this in the URL? Do a refresh, just make sure I got it right. And then we do spiels. No, that fails as well. So it's kind of looking like I'm missing something in the routing, although it looks like I got it right. So I am confused. Am I missing something like obvious right in front of me? So I declared this in the same way. Let's do the other test. Let's take the faces, which is routing correctly, and go to Spiel screen instead. Okay, that worked. That worked just fine. It's showing the new screen that I created. So there's something fakaka about this routing. And I'll be honest with you, it's kind of irritating me. Okay, so let's do that again. Let me try putting a trailing on it. Interesting. So I got it now, I think. I did see very briefly the new Spiel screen flash on me. But there's something about the audio context that will cause it to navigate back to the home screen. So there's a check that I do where I say, do we have the audio context when we arrive at the screen? Because there's stuff on the screen that needs it, particularly loading in the test audio, the test voices. It says if we don't, let's go back to the home screen. I put that same check inside of the new Spiel screen. And I suspect that it'll work fine to go there. I just need to correct like a problem with the URL around this guy here. So let's do that. Home screen. Yeah. And the menu tiles, home screen configs, filter screen configs. Okay, that's going to be, get rid of that relative URL, don't need it. Okay. UI, bam, screen, screens. Okay, yeah, I haven't specified the URL here. That's all it is. So I do that. I predict it will start working. And when I was doing a direct URL, it was kicking me back to the home screen because the audio context was not yet available. So now it's working fine. Okay, cool. So now I got the Spiel screen. And there's going to be some content panels underneath of it. Take another look at the faces screen. What's the name of that? Inner content pane. There we go. Okay, so it's actually the same kind of set of divs. So I will need to recreate that layout. Styles, Spiel text, or let's do Spiel pane, caption, Spiel, and we'll get rid of this part selector stuff. Got to go back and see what did I say I wanted to do? Test and transcript. Okay, so there's going to be test, get rid of all this stuff. Transcript. Okay. Get rid of this. Bam. Okay. And a whole bunch of auto imported stuff I can just delete. Go away. Also, let's clean up my imports. This I want to come from a file I haven't created yet. Fine for this to have a relative path to the current because this module is intentionally coupled to its own CSS module. It's not the most important thing in the world, but I do like to have a consistent ordering for my imports, particularly on screens I know we're going to have a shitload of imports like this one. And I order by the path to the file that gets imported alphabetically, but it's a little bit pain to organize this way, but it helps out in the long run. Okay, so next let's get the CSS in place. Spiel screen. We will use CSS modules. Might as well copy and paste the CSS from the faces screen. It's going to have almost everything I need in it. Take out things that I don't actually have a use for yet. Okay, let's be careful. View pane is pretty close to the test pane. Face pane is pretty close to the Spiel pane. Selection pane is pretty close to the transcript pane. Right column can stay the same, I think. Face loading box, take it out for now. Okay, so coming back to the Spiel screen, what is defined, or what's requested to be defined? Container, Spiel pane, test pane, transcript pane. Container, Spiel pane, Yeah, let's put these in rough order. Test pane, transcript pane. Okay, and then the right column, which the test pane and transcript pane go inside of. So I take that, come back to here. Yeah, so it's already set up pretty much how I want it, which is quite nice. I can keep going now. So over here I defined some buttons on the test screen. There was start and change face. Let's add those in. Trying to see how I put those buttons in. Maybe it's up here. Okay, I totally forgot how I did this. Let's go look at no selection pane, and in the inner content pane, okay, there's a buttons thing which will give it, I'm going to pass in button definitions. Okay. So maybe it's worth, instead of having this generic class here, maybe it's better for me to create a separate module for the Spiel pane. Yeah, and separate for test pane and transcript pane. So let's just create directories for each of those. Spiel pane. Test pane. Boy, it does kind of give me a bucketing problem. So I have this interactions directory, and normally I would say anything that where you do something with the UI and it needs to respond to user interactions, I would put in this interactions directory. But then I started creating this other organization, and maybe I want to have the interactions for each type of pane inside of there. I think I'm gonna keep going with that. I'm gonna say that the interactions can have interactions that are more general, and if they're more specific, I'll put them in the pane they go with. Okay. So transcript pane. Okay. I changed my mind again. Rename panes. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we'll do Spiel pane. Okay. Test pane. Transcript pane. Okay, so let's replace these. So right now I've got That's my spiel pane. I want styles coming from there. I want coming from Spiel pane module CSS. Okay, add style sheet. Okay, I guess that means that I need to move my declaration over. Okay. Okay. Then here we will have test pane. Test pane module CSS. No, not that. Come back over to Spiel screen module. Test pane currently has no definition, but I'll bring it over anyways. Okay, close that. Oh yeah, my export default. Okay. So then we should be able to import this. And the last one is transcript. Import this. So that was just refactoring, so I want to see if it's still exactly the same. Once I go over and take a look at the web browser. Clean up my imports. Okay. Still good? Yes, still good. Okay, so then let's go into I think the test pane. Let's see. Generate button definitions. And then let me pattern this after, yeah, like that. Okay, button definition is going to come from the inner content pane. Okay, return. Something like this. Okay, test pane. Let's do, let's also pass in disabled. Okay. Side props. Disabled. Boolean. Change phase. On click. Later on, I might have the start and toggle between start and stop based on a plain state, but I don't need to do that now. Let's see what the test pane looks like. There we go. So we got the buttons there. They don't do anything. That's okay. In this session, I'm just setting up the screen. Just doing some fast screen prototyping. Well, more than prototyping, because it is the framework that'll get filled in with implementation. Okay, so the other thing that was here was the canvas. And then what are the things you want? You want styles, test face, or face canvas. Okay, what else do you want? You want an on draw? Sure, makes sense. On draw. You want is animated. I want that to be true because you will be animated. And that's really all I need to do for that. Let's do on draw face, and let's pass in I don't know, let's see. On draw, let's see how I did it over on faces screen. Face content. I said if the head's ready, then we're gonna do all this. Oh, I did a loading box thing too. Okay, so that's probably useful. Test pane. I mean, I said I wasn't gonna do any functionality, but it's 508. I got time to throw in a face. I got time. Is head ready? We'll say state from React. So this is the reason to organize your imports so you don't have like redundant imports from the same file. Okay. Okay. So how did on draw face work? On draw face canvas. Let's call it the same thing. So this is going to be head component not equal null. I think just pop that out like that. do a loading box. Inside of here, it's going to be face content. Okay. Use effect after mount. I wish the IDE would be smart enough to figure out like the absolute path I set and some other things, but oh well, it's still useful with its auto imports. Okay, now on draw face canvas, let's go copy and paste with that. Where it's general interactions, is that where I've got it? Yeah. See, that's kind of bad. That's grabbing from faces screen. Let's junk that. Context. Then I'll pass in context and the head component. Okay. Refactor. I'll move it to a different module in a moment. Here I need to load this this head component. Okay, so let's say const next head component equals wait. No, I don't want to do it that way. I don't feel like making an asynchronous function for this, so let's do actually, yeah, let's do init test pane. Okay. Then head component. And then just set the head component. And the head component will be this, but let's make it distinct from the variable name I'm already using inside of use state above. So that, and then I need to do export function init test pane, and let's see, it's going to be async. It's going to return a promise to the head component, okay, or a canvas component, which will be the head component. Const head component equals await load face from URL, and then I'm going to cheat a little bit and come back to this. Faces default face to do use active face from persistent store. I just want to get this up and going. Okay, so let's return the head component, and then to do refactor, put it in a different file. Sure, let's go ahead and do that. Okay. I will need to set some CSS for these two elements, face canvas and face loading box. So test pane module, face canvas, face loading box. Let's go look at the other screen that had some examples. Okay, you're just saying fill up the whole thing. I guess I didn't have, oh no, yeah, it's with 100% on both of them. Okay, I'll try that. Let's see, what kind of error message we got? Reload. It seems like I got the URL wrong to this file here. Let's see where I've already got that. Faces default. Okay, so it needs a preceding boom boom right there. Okay, so that's not bad. It looks like I'm going to need to set like a height for the test pane. Height. Let's do 20 rem. at 25. That seems like a pretty good height. Now, I know that things will work out better if there's some ability for this head to get scaled down a little bit, but I'll come back to that in the future. So let's go to test pane module, set the height to 25 REM. I don't know. Maybe 30. Okay. And I don't know why, but it's not putting any gap there. On faces, it's got a gap. On spills, it does not. Okay. I would like for this to take up much less space by default. Let's take a look at what my settings are for that. Let's go the opposite way. 35%. No. Come on. Even less. 25. Okay. Right column, 20%. Okay. Okay. So I'm not seeing any animation on this. I'm trying to. Oh, I know why. Because I have to start the controllers that makes it idle. But I'm not going to do that right away. This is just kind of getting the layout correct. Okay, I can go down to the transcript pane. I can also fix this gap here. That should be pretty easy to fix. So I feel like if I just go back to the faces screen module, I'm going to get something that would fix it. Like a gap or a margin or something like that. Scroll with display. Okay, it doesn't seem to have a gap there, so let me just see if I can just add it in and just fix it that way. I'm already getting messed up with the different flex gap. What was it called? Gap, row gap, column gap. Let's do it. Let's start with a really stupid one just to start. Make sure it's really obvious what the effect is. That's the one. Okay. So if I say 1 REM. Okay, getting there. 0.5. That's it. Right there. If I go maybe just 0.4. There we go. That's it. Okay, next. The transcript. The transcript. It should I'm wondering too why those aren't disabled. Can I fix those? Let's see, test pane. Oh, because I didn't pass disabled in. So I'll come back up here. And let's pass in disabled to everybody. Well, to start, just the test pane, actually. Razdev, Oh, really? You know what? That's cool. I appreciate that. I'll just fiddle with it now and see if I can enable raids. Let me see if I can do it without boring everyone to death. Going to my settings in Twitch off screen, and I'm seeing if I can do it. Going to settings, channel, stream, enable clips, followers on, blah blah blah. Exclude categories, raid. Okay, you're right. I have it on denial raids, but I will allow raids. I will save it. Now raids are allowed. It may be a terrible mistake from me, but I don't think so. I think I can handle a raid. Actually, yeah. Anyways, I do appreciate the gesture. Okay. So then I passed in the disabled, and that caused these buttons to be disabled. That is as I like it. So the next thing I'm looking at my wireframe is to add a little button here to the transcript pane that says clear. Hello, it's Rufio. Rufio. It's a raid. I love a good raid. Unless it's a home invasion. You get your house broken into, and I mean that's the wrong kind of raid to get, but this is good raid. So yes, hello everyone. I will be a good host and just back up for a moment and say what the heck I'm doing. So there is this application, a web app I've been working on for probably close to a year now, in different forms. It's called Wisp. And what it does is it allows you to make faces that can tell stories, and you can talk to the faces with speech recognition. They're animated. So if I come over to this face screen designer, this is like an authoring tool to make an experience. And there's a little face here, and he will be animated to different kinds of things, different emotions. You can set the lids to different things. I can test out speaking audio to see
I don't invent anymore.
the animation there in
My
the mouth.
axles? I invented them. I suppose.
Well, thank you. And then you can change the faces around too. You can say, okay, I want a different kind of face. I want, the mouth to have different proportions. You can change the nose to something else, right? So you can define these faces pretty easily. You can save them. This is low-key code. This is React-based with TypeScript, and it's an offline first web app, so that means that it doesn't require a connection to a server to do things. It is actually storing everything locally on your computer. So it's pretty fast as a result. There are some things that take a little bit of time because they're CPU intensive, like recoloring. Then there's this other feature. I'm kind of proud of it. It took me a long time to sort it out. Angular, yeah. I'm not too hung up on different frameworks. It just happens that React is what I spent some time with, so it's pretty it's pretty. It's an area of competence for me. So if I bring in just any old WAV file that's got speech in it, any WAV file with speech in it, I can go to a past game that I worked on that's got quite a few different audio assets in it. I can import it, and the animation for the mouth movements will be handled automatically. So if I go into project, audio, speech, and here's my several thousand audio clips with 40 different actors. Let me see, here's one.
Okay, you come north.
Okay, import this. Okay, it's using speech recognition to locate the words that are uttered inside of the speech. Okay, you come north. And then that breaks down to phonemes, which are the individual utterances that make up a word. And each phoneme is mapped to a viseme, which is the lip animation that corresponds. So if I click on this.
Okay, you come north.
Oh, bug, bad demo. Usually, this mouth will just animate along with it.
Okay, you come north.
Let me see if I can get it to work. If I just come in fresh, got a little bug there. Okay, speech, import, and let's see, what's this one? That's a weird one.
I can't kill you over there.
Okay, let's see if it'll animate this time. Don't make a fool out of me, animate.
I can't kill you
Bug.
I can't kill you over there.
But anyways, you saw over here what the mouth animation looks like.
I should go back.
All right. Thank you. It's nice to brag before a small audience with this thing I've been working on for a long time. So next I'm moving on to working on this today, this new screen for the first time, and this is where you define like the interactive conversation that you can have with a character. And I had created previously a different web app that would kind of let you do that. And then now I'm like sort of bringing it over into this more production ready app that's ready to do more things instead of just be a quick demo. And all this stuff is open source. So like all the code for it's up on GitHub, and I plan to keep it that way. So if anyone is interested in following along or borrowing code or building themselves, it's all up there. So yeah, very cool raid. Thanks for everyone hopping over. It is kind of nice to get a little audience. And if I can answer any questions or whatever, yeah, feel free. All right, so transcript. I don't have too much I'm going to do in this session because I got to make dinner in 15 or 20 minutes. But let me see if I can finish up just the basic layout of the screen. I've just got this button up here to add in the clear button. That should be pretty easy. So come back into the spiel screen. Okay, then there's the transcript pane. The transcript pane needs to have some buttons. No, not that one. Got more than one button definition defined, apparently. Okay, that one, that's what I want. And you're going to return an array of button definitions, but this one's pretty easy. Just return stuff here. here. Bam. Okay. Disable. Bam. Boolean. And what was it? I forget. Clear. I just want a button to clear the log inside of the transcript pane. That's all it was. And let's delete that. Okay. I think this might be the thing that finishes the session. I really do like to end a session with like the thing I set out to do done. It just makes me feel good. It gets the what do you call them? The dopamine hit. And you try to do something a little bit hard, and then you do it, and then it's done, and it feels good. That's all. Interface. So, what I don't like to do is end the session with something not quite done. It just makes me feel bad, and that's part of the reason why I do these streams, is because I get to work in a way that makes sense to me, and it makes me feel good. Whereas day job, a lot of times you don't have that luxury. Buttons equals okay, and then we do props. Props. All right. What? Okay, that should give me a button. Am I right? I'm right. There's my button. Okay. So, that's it. I hit my session goal with 20 minutes to spare. Is there anything else I want to throw in? It's kind of like, it's a little bit like playing blackjack. I say, hit me, to give me one more thing to do. But if I pick something that lasts more than, say, 10 minutes, I'm going to be bummed. I'll get that dopamine denial that I don't want. Anything else I could do here that's not going to go over? I don't know. I think I'm going to call it good here. I really loved having people hop on. Thanks much, Rufio. I'm going to call it a stream right here. I tend to come on around about an hour and a half earlier than right now. So for me, that time is around 4 p.m. Pacific Standard. And of course, everybody's off in different time zones. That's why I said, about an hour and 40 minutes before right now. Yeah. Well, you know what? I got a little bit of time here. I'll stop coding for a bit. Like, for the people that hopped in, like what kind of projects are you into? Not saying like I'm gonna cater to your interests. I'm just sort of curious. So like Soul Emerald, you're looking on stream. I'm working on Android Studio. Like, do we got any web devs here or game devs? Like, what kinds of stuff do people like to work on? Just kind of curious. Cool. So Sophie Newhead entering the field, boning up on your Android development there. Cool. Budget application from Low Key Code. But the budget app, is that like a web app, or is it? Budget app sounds to me like it could either be something very ambitious, or it could be like kind of like a learning project. I mean, let's see. Oh, you're doing Chat GPT, Rufio. Oh, that's cool. The coding challenges. Yeah, that kind of makes sense for a stream format. Chat GPT, of course, it's very interesting. It's all the rage. I don't know too much about it. I'd like, watch probably a lot of the same high level videos a lot of other people do. I do think it's interesting that a lot of people are assuming it's like a general intelligence type of a thing as opposed to natural language processing and kind of regurgitating what's been said before in useful ways. Sometimes I wonder, like, are we going to give up on creating stuff ourselves and just say all the things that human created before, we're just going to rehash them? But that would be a very reductive way of looking at it. Qt Creator. Qt. I want to say that's in the embedded space. Huh. Yeah, you resisted it for a while. You found it is rewarding. That's good to know. I'm also like a hiring manager for engineers, and one of the things I've got to figure out is what should be our expectations for engineers coming in we hire that are going to be using tools like to generate code like GitHub Copilot and etc. I feel like there's going to be a bunch of garbage code that is just dumped into my code bases at work that kind of looks good when people put it in a merge request and passes peer review, but suddenly like the code's all full of bugs, and because people didn't really understand what they pasted into their IDE. I don't know. I wonder if it'll go that way. It's like I don't want to be like somebody who's just knee-jerk against it at all. It's more like I want to figure out how to adapt my behavior to work well with it and to work with people that work with it. Yeah. It's also kind of bad for like reading articles and stuff, because there's going to be so much content that it doesn't have spelling or grammar errors in it, but it's just vapid, it just like doesn't give you anything new or interesting. It just sort of rehashes things that have been said before. There's no concepts that are deeper in the writing, and I'm really kind of bracing myself for just like a lot of brain dead stuff that looks right. It'd be interesting too if maybe the end result of it all is that we get better as a society at seeing when things are bullshit. Maybe that's going to be a silver lining to it, because so much bullshit will be generated that there'll just be ways that we know. And then low key, you said, testing. Yeah. Like I can see just getting really strict at work with my teams on their test automation that they have to turn in, with their code when they do their merge requests. There might be certain functions that are sort of like pure functions that you say 100% code coverage. Just make sure you get every nook and cranny of that code, because if you used a generative tool, you need to make sure that you didn't introduce some defect because you didn't think through every single line, To stream the work. Yeah. Like in interview situations, I mean, I always do like a coding exercise with the person showing their screen. There are certain candidates that, like even before all the chat GTP type stuff, they were just really quiet. They just preferred to just type out the solution and not say much until they were done. Then they might explain it. But if you really wanted to understand, if the person was creating that code themselves and that they understood what they were writing as opposed to just pasting something, then I think I would insist on the candidates talking as they go and explaining what they were thinking, and might have to add a little bit of salt to the interviews to say, can you go back and change that one line there so that it will return an array instead of some other data type. You might have to kind of poke and prod people in interviews to see if they're really understanding what they're putting in. But then there's like a level after that where you would say, okay, I expect the candidate to use a code generation tool while they work. So yeah, bring it in, but let's have them be able to write good code using it. But I just think there's going to be an onslaught of crappy code for people that don't really know how to do it. They just know how to type in some stuff and have it generate code. The other thing that I'm really even more annoying is going to be like kind of business management type people that say, do we need to have all these coders? Now we can just have people instantly generate software really fast using code generative techniques, and they'll think that they're saving a lot of money and they'll generate poor quality software. Anyhow, I'm going to sign off. I got to go get some dinner, hustling, But yeah, really cool talking with y'all. And low key, Soul Emerald, Rufio, Administrator. I'll catch you later, I hope. Right. Signing off. Stopping the stream right about now.